Okay, as a voice or as a man in the press that likes to push things and let them go, let's look at, could there be some diplomatic influence that is making Cameroon? There's a lot of rush action within Cameroon right now. They're either arresting their own proxies or trying to make some releases. And this is also serving the good. But I don't want to remove my eye from a game that Cameroon could have been playing. And this has to do with the identity of these people. If by law, these people, peradventure, this is hypothetical, if they stay within
These are
Cameroon,
refugees.
yes,
They are refugees.
hold on. If by law they are released within Cameroon and they opt to stay, which means they have accepted their Cameroonians, no longer refugees, meaning that they are protected in Cameroon. Just a moment. I'm trying to say that there is a cliche. No, you are shaking your mouth or your head because you are considering the law in Nigeria. You're not thinking that Cameroon could do a release and negotiation with them to play a game, because Cameroon is good at any level of game. If that happens, that they stay within Cameroon based on the agreement with Cameroon for their release, which we don't know yet, we cannot audaciously conclude on what is happening until it happens. If that be the case, how does it affect our claims in Nigeria? I want us to think on that direction for a split second.
Let me tell you,
Good.
these people were refugees that were taken from Nigeria, abducted from Nigeria, and handed over to Cameroon. They have not lost that status of refugees under international law. They are still under the protection of the UNHCR. And therefore, releasing them in the Cameroon public does not respect, is another violation of that international convention. So I am saying, let's wait and see what happens to them from Monday going forward.
Let me hear from you, Barrister Mbeseha. You were up.
Yes, yes. I think it's important for us to conclude this topic on this note. You see, those guys, well, if they are released on Monday, only day after, they have the right to flood the refugee agency in Yaoundé and say, here we are. We're refugees in Nigeria. They had the refugee status, adopted, tried us here, which we were not supposed to come here. Now they've set us free. We don't want to stay here. The refugee agency, the United Nations Refugee Agency, will be obliged to go back to Nigeria if they want to go back to Nigeria, or to seek a third country, because it's evident now that their stay in Cameroon is unsafe. What they were escaping from, they have suffered it. They are a little bit free. The United Nations Refugee Agency would keep them, seek if they don't want to go to Nigeria because of the risk of being caught again. That agency has the power to say, okay, we'll resettle you in Niger, we'll resettle you in Gabon, wherever they want. But they are within their legal right. They have the evidence now that they were escaping from Cameroon. They abducted them and brought them there and jailed them. Now they are free. They don't want to stay there.
Amazing.
Because they will face the same consequence. So that is a strategy.
I'm happy that Barrister Mbeseha, you made a contribution.
Let me learn. I overheard. Let me just finish. I overheard that someone told me, I don't know how far this is true, that they were made to sign some documents in court, promising that they will not be involved in the struggle anymore. That is good evidence.
What I would have wanted us to talk about, because I also have that intelligence.
Okay, all right.
What you have said now, you have just hit the nail on the head.
I thought we're ending the topic.
You see, no, we are ending the topic here because we're going to get back to it. We can't end here. And there's a game Cameroon is playing. You know, Cameroon doesn't just give up. There's a game. And you have just hit the nail on the head. Barrister, just to argue what Barrister Fru said, a refugee, their rights as refugees have not been relinquished, but you must understand that a refugee has a right also to denounce the refugee status by saying, hey, I'm good with my country now, I'm no longer a refugee. If that is the card
Look,
Cameroon is playing on the ground, what I wanted you people to answer was the dynamics and what changes in our argument in Nigeria, which none of you have answered.
I've been, Paddy,
Yes, please.
can I?
Please, Barrister Fru.
I've been, that thing about signing a document, until I see the document, I cannot make any conjecture, because
Okay.
everybody who is released from prison signs what they call bulletin, what they call it, the bulletin de crew. That is a document that allows you to move freely, because you don't have papers until you make all your papers what you will be using. And the Court of Appeal cannot force people to sign anything. It is not the court below. It is a review of the court below that has happened. I don't see anything other than the bulletin de crew that they signed to leave, to take and leave,
And I agree with
until
you
I
that,
see
hold on.
until I see what they have signed, I cannot make any conjecture.
Yes,
Having
I
said
agree with
that,
that.
I am saying that these people have not really they are refugees, they are on record, and no court has a right to force people to renounce their status of refugee because they are being released. No court
Okay,
has that right.
Barrister Fru, agreed. Also, once you're arguing, try to look at this other angle. A refugee has a right to denounce their refugee status. And if there is any background arrangement between the refugee, those refugees that were, because one of Cameroon's intention, arresting the Naira 10, Taraba 39,
But
or 7, let me
can
finish,
I disagree? Can I disagree?
Let me finish before you disagree. One of the objectives that Cameroon would arrest them is so as also to compromise them. We cannot think that Cameroon arrested them only to torture them. Then we are probably not thinking correctly. Now, if they are compromised, the release will now become a favor of Cameroon. But if they stay resolute, then the release becomes something of good for us.
Let me tell you, a refugee
Okay, Paddy,
who has been
can I say, let me
imprisoned
mama one point.
in the country
Let me
from
mama
where
one
he's
point.
coming from the country where he's coming from, that country cannot get that refugee to renounce his status. Whether the refugee does it willingly or unwillingly is immaterial. A refugee,
Paddy,
That's
listen,
let me mama one point now.
from a country where you're running from, where you were taken from a country where you're a refugee by force in violation of international convention, and you are released, and you are asked, and that country which has power over you, the prisoner. Listen, let me finish that party. He has power over you, the prisoner, and to make you to renounce your status as a refugee is illegal. They will not. They know that the world knows. The world knows that refugees are vulnerable people, and any government can take advantage of them. So don't tell me that.
Let me
What
mama one
you have
point now. We have
opted
to
not
finish
to,
talking.
not to listen to is the fact that we're not talking about their vulnerability. We're talking about their will. Either
Yes, Paddy,
by
And can you
operation.
prove that they did it willfully? Can you prove that they did it willfully?
it's not helping us.
That's what I'm saying, that
We're not
their
helping
behavior
ourselves.
after they are released. I'm giving you the mic, Barrister Mbeseha. Just give me a point, please, so that I can continue the conversation. Their behavior after they are released will make a definition. I've read the Refugee Convention. By Mbeseha, you are aware that in 2019 and 2020, I took out time going through those documents because it was of direct interest to me. And there's somewhere that says that until you, the refugee, decide that you feel secure, or a determination is made that you feel secure, you cannot be returned back
That
home.
will be
Which
that will be only
keeping,
that will be done. That can be done only when you are out of prison, not when you are being released.
that's what you are not listening again to me. I'm not arguing with you.
Let me
I'm
finish.
trying to tell
Okay.
you that what if there is a negotiation in the prison that will be manifested outside? We are trying not to see it, and that's where I want us to look at. Vice Mbeseha, please.
I think there's a point. We are making too many arguments for nothing. We must agree, but some will agree with us perhaps, that even a refugee at any time, anywhere, a refugee who is free can decide to go back
Yeah.
as
Who is
resources.
free? That's correct. Who is free?
Let me finish now. But let me finish now. Oh gosh. Some refugees that we had in Nigeria are back on their own.
Yeah.
Yes.
Coming back to these
Yes.
32 people, these 30 people have said, once they're out of that jail, those of them who feel unsafe, some of them are free. They can say, okay, I'm out. I'm going to my house in Manfred. I will go and meet my brother and pay my taxes and go back home. That's your freedom.
Yeah.
Nobody's forcing you. But if you feel like you're very unsafe, you don't want to go back to Nigeria because they will catch you again. You can now move as a team to the United Nations Refugee Agency in Yaoundé. Maybe 5 of you, 10 of you, not all the 32. Those who think that they are not safe, they don't want to go back home. You can go there and say, well, we are refugees, they forced us here, they jailed us. We don't want to go back to Nigeria because they will catch us. We don't want to stay here because they will kill us. Mr. Refugee of the UN, help us. That refugee agency in Yaoundé has the legal power to say, okay, we understand your plight. This is all the evidence. We will look for a third country for you who will accept you
Correct.
as refugees. We will take you there.
Or
Correct.
resettlement.
That's
Yeah.
the
Correct.
procedure. What once those 30 people, once those 32 people walk out of jail with their
Yeah.
certificates free.
Yeah.
Because even the citizen say you must take me back to Nigeria. Cameroon government, let us be practical. They will not put you anywhere. You'll be free to walk away and go back to your house in Manfred, in Kuma, wherever they took you.
You have
Or
made two
say, no, I'm
very
safe. They
two
will kill me if I
important
go there.
points. You have made 2 points,
Yeah,
Vice
and then you go
Mbeseha,
there
which
and then they
I
will
want to
keep
say.
you as a refugee.
Yeah.
Because there are
And
people, let me land.
resettlement.
Because there are people in Cameroon there. Now, let me finish. Let me just land. There are people in Cameroon like Dinka who escaped from Cameroon. They didn't go straight to the refugee camp. They went to U.S. Embassy in Yaoundé and they sent them out. So this is all. But let them know it is important for us to discuss this. When they get free on Monday,
Yeah.
if they are free, they will have that option to
You
make
have
that
that
choice.
option.
So that's the point
Okay.
I was trying to
Vice
make.
Mbeseha, you have elaborately explained the two options which are correct. But there's something the both of you have opted either not to answer or to avoid. It's a scenario whereby these refugees come out in freedom to testify that they live in Cameroon and everything is good. And this is what I'm driving at. I'm not interested in all of these international conventions because they don't change. Once you know them, they will apply.
No,
Your
no,
resettlement,
no,
your
Paddy,
right to be done.
you are
Let me
bringing
finish.
you are bringing a scenario that cannot work.
No, no, no,
Somebody
no, no.
cannot live
Just wait now.
from jail.
You cannot say it cannot work. We have seen, I can give examples that Cameroon has done it. What if they get out of
Now,
prison? No, wait. I want you to answer this hypothesis because it helps us in strategy.
okay, give it. Let
What
me
if they end up
give
that
it.
they are released? Let's not avail it. Let us not say it cannot work, whereas everything is possible in Cameroon. It's not right for us to say it cannot work. What if they get released and to sabotage the struggle, they now claim that they feel free in Cameroon? That will mean Cameroon's propaganda, which is their main tool of war right now, to start telling the world that because I report with the refugees in Nigeria every day. I talk with them daily. Cameroon is telling them that it is good home. Let them come back home.
Well, Pade,
It's
I think
where
we are looking a very long way. I've understood your scenario. This is why I say it cannot work. Somebody cannot come out of jail who have been jailed in these circumstances. Let me say you were the one. We're talking too much. If Padi was in Nigeria as a refugee, if you were in Nigeria as a refugee, and one of those guys walked out of jail tomorrow, Monday, and said, well, Cameroon is so good, I'm out of jail. You're out of jail. Cameroon is so good that you want to be you're out of jail. Will you in Taraba, if you were in Taraba, or Canada, or wherever, go back because of the testimony of somebody who's from jail, officially from jail, for being jailed, not for breaking into houses, but for this
okay.
revolution? Will you go back if you're a refugee?
I think
So that's it. That's why I
I
said
think
that's the way you cannot even work. Because only a stupid man will believe that someone who has saved 6 years, 7 years, I say that's so good, come back. Who will believe him? Who will believe him?
no,
That's why I said the scenario is not
you're
that
talking
can even
about
happen.
you're still misunderstanding what I'm saying, which is okay, and I think we'll have to conclude the conversation here. You are talking about people believing them, or we believe in them.
Yeah,
I am talking about Cameroon's propaganda. You are talking about what people
Cameroon
believe.
cannot be
So
How
without
would you be
people
saying that
believe,
they didn't jail them? The Cameroon says they
Pade,
didn't jail them.
hey, right now we are releasing
Pade,
prisoners, and our nation is free.
Pade, Pade.
Yes.
Cameroon propaganda now will go nowhere.
Okay. That
Releasing
is
releasing refugees, releasing refugees, and a dead president somewhere. The whole country is in chaos, and you are telling me that they have to release refugees to make propaganda against Ambazonia now? I
okay,
don't think
gentlemen.
so.
But yeah,
Gentlemen,
I think Mr. Shaw is right.
this program now. I
But
agree.
that
I
propaganda
agree
will
with
only
you.
work.
Let's
That
move
propaganda,
forward.
no, that propaganda can only work. I said earlier that their tweeters were released. That propaganda will only work if they were released without trial. And can we forgive everybody? Nobody's been tried. Everybody come back home. That one will
Correct,
work. But after
correct.
somebody has served jail time, and released on appeal because they classified what you charge them for not being a crime. That propaganda cannot be used anymore because the propaganda will tend to support the idea they could go to adopt you over there, bring you, force
Okay.
you in your own and say,
We
oh,
need,
okay,
we, need,
everything's
we, need,
okay.
we need to round up this program so that we have to participate. The meeting with the president, in my understanding,
Okay.
is still ongoing.
All right.
According to
Can
what
we
you
sign
both of
off?
you would have said, this release is not by any international pressure. Am I correct? It's not based on pressure. It is based on Cameroon's court shockingly questioning them. We wait until Monday to see the outcome of this release. Fellow Ambazonians, ladies and gentlemen, as we speak right now, the president of the Federal Republic of Ambazonia is having a strategic discussions with stakeholders as a planning meeting ahead of Saturday, and probably discussing some issues as to why he is making this clarion call 10th month of the year 2024. I'll leave you until next week. It's been Tapari King. Stay tuned.